So these are my Ohuhu markers. I bought them, I think, almost 2 years ago now. They're my favorite markers. The first markers I ever bought. They're inexpensive Copic knockoffs, basically. So they're alcohol-based markers. I've recommended them for a long time, but I was watching a YouTube video where someone else had just purchased them and they looked completely different, and I saw one major flaw, so I thought I better try those out and see if I still like them. So I bought another pack. Let's compare them and see if I can still recommend them. Okay, I noticed the logo shrank. Little tiny logo. Also, there's a hole. Oh no. And I can see that they're different. Uh-oh. You unzip the zippy. Oh, they're kind of cute. All right, so right off the bat, I'm noticing that these are rounder and these are squarer. I wonder if I got my favorite marker. My favorite marker is 147. Did I get a 147? I'm not seeing it. No. I use this for like shading everything. I see a 75. That looks really pretty. Oh, but I had a 75 before. See, these two are the exact same marker. It looks like they're longer now by a smidge. They still have a white barrel. They still say Ohuhu marker on them. This one is much more metallic. A little harder to read with this lighting. So it still has the handy dark line that tells you which side's the fine tip. Let's check out the broad chisel tip. And your fine point. I think that's pretty much the same. Oh, the chisel tip is bigger now. Okay, look at that. So here we have the old one and the new one. Another problem I'm seeing right off the bat is that they got rid of the color names, which is kind of unfortunate. I really like having color names, like Blue Mint. Well, we just have 70, 96, 53. So if you're colorblind, this is not helpful for you. And I just think it's more fun to have a marker with a color name, because the color names can be so cute. Now my biggest thing, and the thing I noticed right off the bat when I saw someone else have them, is that I was very, very worried about, is my most glowing recommendation for Ohuhu markers, which not a whole lot of markers do this, and it's just something that really matters to me, is that you can remove the cap from one end, and you can stick it on the other. Isn't that wonderful? I freaking love it, okay? So that is my favorite thing, because if you have a cap that fits on the other end, it just stays on there while you're drawing and you don't lose it. I haven't tested this yet. You're gonna see my first impressions here. Oh boy, because there is a design element here that's slanted, like it's a curve. Let me see that. It's diagonal. Okay, here we go. Removing the cap on one end. Nope, 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 nope. Although, I do have to say something here. I came into possession of this wonderful Copic marker. That's right, one of these $5 to $8 markers. Holy cow, good grief, that's a lot of money for one marker. And they don't do that either, so what a world we live in. You can pay $5 for a single marker and the cap doesn't fit on the other end. I was just assumed, because I had never actually held a Copic marker before, but because their design was so sleek and like it was the same on both ends, that the cap would just fit, but no, it doesn't. That's so unfortunate. Ah! So what I'm gonna do is see, since I bought 2 separate sets, how many doubles I got, and yeah, that'll be fun. Got a number 1, got a number 1. These two are technically the exact same color, wine red, as it was originally called, but now it just goes by 1. The color is definitely different on the cap. This is number 1. Okay, so that is the original wine red, and this is the new wine red. Or that is a different color. Holy cow. Okay. They both actually match their caps really, really well. They're a different color now, but they both match. So hey, props to Ohuhu for that one. Let's find another one and see. Oh, I found another problem here. All right, so these are both the new ones, but how am I supposed to know which one's a 6 and which one's a 9? If this had a color name on it, I would know which one's a 6 and which one's a 9. But judging on the fact that I have a 6, which was vivid pink originally, I'm gonna guess that's 6, and this is a 9. Here we have our 2 5s, which originally was called cherry pink. Now it looks more like a cherry pink. Again, caps look very different in color. Let's see what they look like on the paper. So here's the original cherry pink. That looks very red to me. And the new cherry pink. Ooh, I like that color, which is number 5. All right, and let's see which one's cap matches the best. The inks are very close to the caps, but they're different than they used to be. I so far like the new colors better because these are very dark and more difficult for me to use, and that doesn't even look like a red. But yeah, I'm really impressed with how close the cap colors have been to the actual ink inside of them. Oh, can you see how much I'm shaking? That is ridiculous. Okay, that's why I'm not drawing right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then if I see anything really crazy, I'll let you know. Wow, that's really close. That's insane. They did a really good job. Oh, hey! This is new. I just found this while I was going through the markers trying to organize them by number. They have a little color sheet, like a swatch sheet. I mean, I assume they're not entirely accurate. Pretty close. But they actually have a set colors that come with each set. Huh. I still recommend swatching them yourself so you can see the accurate ink, but okay, so that's different. Originally, it was just a random set, and you can tell I didn't get a 9, an 8, or a 10 in my original set. So they've definitely changed how they do things. So yeah, my old review is way out of date. But yeah, I'm going to continue this so that we can finish the comparison. I haven't found any that are dried out yet. Now some people said they got dried out ones. I've never, like, none of mine have even dried out yet. And I've had them for 2 years. But I guess maybe I don't use them as much as some people might. Ooh, I will be using that color. Look at the difference. Swatching along, swatching along. Ooh, uh-oh. Okay, so I just opened the 56, which was originally the mint green. And look at it. It's exploded. Looks pretty nasty. Ew. It's still working. The other side's fine. Yeah, that's kind of gross. See if I can clean it off. Not really. It's kind of sticky. Ew. That color has definitely changed. Where's that? 85. Again, color changed, but the caps really still match, so. I mean, they updated everything. They didn't just leave anything the same and like, because if you had changed the ink and not changed the cap, that would be unfortunate, but they actually changed everything, so that's really nice to see. Oh no! It says this set doesn't come with a 103. Potato brown is my favorite. That's what I use to color my hair whenever I draw myself. Oh no! See, let me show you the beauty of potato brown. Look at this. Ah, that's just the perfect color for my hair. No, I don't want you to not be existing anymore. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my last review, but my favorite colors are all the pastel ones because they're just a lot easier for me to use and less daunting. And none of those are included in the new set, which is making me sad. All right, so I finished swatching them all and I've come to some conclusions here. My biggest letdown is that there are less pastel colors. So in the original set, all the 100 range numbers were pastel, and that was really helpful for me because I was like, oh, I want this to be pastel. I know I looked into the 100 range and I would have the perfect color depending on what I needed. I put little stars next to the colors I used the most. So if you'll notice, all of these are not included in the new set. These skin tones I use a lot. Those are included. They've been updated, but I'm okay with those. Those look fine. The 135, so pale cherry pink, which I used a lot, it looks like it's been replaced with 25. It's a little bit oranger than my cherry pink, but I think that'll work just fine. My favorite color in the set, the original set, was this potato brown, which I always use for my hair color whenever I draw myself, but that is not included anymore, and that makes me really upset. My potato brown. Look how beautiful this color is, and isn't that just the most gorgeous brown? Another thing is, of course, the caps don't fit on the end anymore, so that's a letdown. And then they don't have the color names anymore either. But on the bright side, there are a lot of things that I like better about the new set, like the browns have all been updated and they're not as muddy. If you look at these, they kind of have a gray tone to them, and then the new ones have more saturated colors, so you have a more variety of browns, even though the browns that I use the most are no longer included. So like the walnut that I used to use, which was this color, Now it looks like this, which is gross to me. I don't like that color. But the rest of the browns, I really, really like. Another thing I really like about the new set is the purples are more purpley. And there are more purples as well. I really like the updated pastel violet, which actually looks violet now, so that's a plus. The caps really, really match. Like, look at that. This is, oh look, I grabbed it. Pastel violet. Look how close that is. That's amazing. Like, when it comes to markers, usually the caps do not match the ink very well, but these work very, very well. You almost could get away without swatching, but I wouldn't recommend it. You should always make a swatch page for your markers. Another thing they changed about the new sets is that there is an actual set number of colors that you get every time you ordered like the 80 marker set, which I really appreciate because originally you just got a random mix of markers, so if you ordered it again you could get different markers, but you'd probably get a lot of the same markers. Now you know exactly what you're getting, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing is the fluorescents are way nicer now. I never used the fluorescents, so it's not a big deal, but just in the last, hour, I think since I swatched these ones have faded a bit, like old ones, and the new ones are still super vibrant, so I really, really like that. However, all alcohol-based markers are not light fast, which means they will fade with direct exposure to the sun. So if I show you my old swatch page from when I originally got my Ohuhu markers, you can tell the colors are not exactly the same as they used to be. Like even 75 you can't even see anymore. Where is it? That's what it looks like when you first put it down, and then that's what it looks like after a year. So the fact that they don't have the pastels isn't as big a deal because these will lighten up over time, but I just think to be a good set for beginners, I think including pastels is important, just because the really dark saturated colors can be daunting and scary, and I think pastel colors are easier to make look good. So as a beginner, you want things to look good so that you don't get discouraged. So that's kind of why I enjoy using the pastels, is because I'm a noob and I feel like they're less scary, you know? And lastly, the other thing I really, really like about the new set is the inclusion of so many cool grays and warm grays and blue grays. The original set came with this ones right here, and then now you've included all these, and these blue grays are gorgeous. I really like all of those. And then the warm grays, you even have this one, which you could probably pass as a very light skin tone. Those are my thoughts on the new Ohuhu markers. I guess I'm really sad about the potato brown, but I really like the new purples. And the pastels are almost a deal breaker for me. I'd be interested to know if they still make these pastel markers. You just get them in a different set, maybe? I'm probably going to shoot them an email and find out. But the answer will be on the screen. Hey, older, wiser waffle here by a day. I reached out to Ohuhu and they sent me the sheets of their other color keys for the 40 marker set and the 60 marker set. And it looks like, if this is correct, the 60 marker set actually comes with a lot of pastel markers. And there's a lot of overlap between all three sets, so between the 40, the 60, and the 80 set. So it doesn't really make sense to buy more than one of these sets to try and complete your colors. But the 60 marker set, although it's less than the 80 set, it has some pastels, which is really, really weird. And yeah, I think that's probably what I would recommend most, because if you're looking for pastels, at least, is the 60 marker set. So that's interesting. Anyway, yeah, back to the conclusion. I went into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna not like Ohuhu markers anymore just because, I don't know, they just look so different. But I honestly like the new design, even if they don't fit on the other end. Ugh. But the fact that like what, this is 85. Look how well that matches to the color. That is amazing. I think I can still recommend these. I will definitely be using them. I think I want to switch over to the new ones for most of the colors, but I'm definitely going to hold on to all my 100 range markers because I just use them so much. It's sort of bittersweet, but yeah, I think they're still the best markers for a beginner just because of the price range, the variety of markers, and if you find that there's certain markers you like more than others, you know, you can purchase them in a more expensive brand that'll last you longer and you get refills. So yeah, I really like these markers. I think they're really still just the best for someone who doesn't know where to start. Ohuhu markers are, yeah, the best markers for someone just starting out with alcohol-based markers. So yeah, I definitely recommend them still. And yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys all next week, and I hope you have a delicious evening full of waffles. Bye!